Hi everybody. So I understand we're a little bit late. There was some kind of update or something that we didn't know about until 11:59. But you understand. We're trying to balance everything. No. Welcome everybody that's here, and we're really happy when you join us. We were looking for our live audience here, but nobody came today. But everybody's welcome if they want to come hang out and sit around and ask live questions. It'd be really a lot of fun. So I hope everybody's loving this warm weather we're having. I don't know about you, but it really makes me want to be at the beach.
At the beach, definitely. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one sharing that.
Well, it's fun though, seeing everyone out on the avenues, having, just walking or having lunch and dinner.
Getting outdoors.
Getting your sunshine.
Yeah, feeling like, you know what, it's a perfect lead-in to being in balance.
Yeah.
Because when you're outdoors and you're outside in nature, you really are able to collect that magnetic energy that grounds you.
Yeah.
And then when you're at work or wherever, that your thoughts are like rushing and racing all over the place. That outside walking, meditation, stuff like that is all of your bringing yourself back into balance from all the chaos and everything.
Yeah, Kate and I did 8 miles last night just because it was so amazing out.
Yeah,
we just kept going.
Don't you just feel
It was
great?
amazing. Yeah, the sun was setting. It was awesome.
I know when I get finished at the gym and the next day, a couple days, I feel really awesome. So today we're talking about balance, and not necessarily balance health-wise, which eventually is affected by your life being in balance, but it's about having your thoughts and your desires and the steps that you're taking be aligned and in sync with what your desires are. And I think the times that you'll notice that you can relate to being out of balance is you're around like people or a situation or a job that you're in that just feels uncomfortable. And are you staying in something just because it feels safe? And something feeling safe doesn't necessarily mean that it's in balance. It just means that in your mind, you don't have to deal with that discomfort or
well, you have to recognize that's what you're feeling.
That uneasiness.
Yeah, and you're feeling stuck, is another thing. I mean, I know over many years I felt stuck and I didn't really even know what that meant, but it just kind of like, feel like you're treading water and just not getting forward, and, like that stuck feeling really stays with you if you can't push it forward and feel more balance and feel what's going on in your body, your signals and signs that are telling you that you're not in balance, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah. And listen, all of these things that Kim's mentioning has to do with all the things that create stress in our life. And stress really is an internal thing. It's not an external thing.
Yeah.
The stress isn't out here. The stress is what you're perceiving all of this to be. And that stress changes the feelings in the body. And, when you think about being in balance, you think of like a seesaw. And this is where you're in balance, where both weights on both sides are equal. But if your dreams are here and your desire is here, then that's not really going to get to that until you start really bringing what your intentions are to, like putting that order out there. And over we talk about this energy that's out there, this power that's out there that we can't see. It's invisible. But the more you send out thoughts, the more this invisible energy becomes what you're thinking, which I know we've gone over this a million times, but when you really know this fact to be true and you use it for the first time and have it really bring to you what you put out, that's when you really start to use it for your best.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go over repetitive thoughts that are bringing you the same frustration, the same stuckness, the same lower feelings,
Giving your power away,
of giving your power away,
doing things you don't want to do,
and in fact, you're really being dishonest, not only with yourself, but the whole situation out there, because you're not feeling balanced in yourself with what's going on. And until you realize that fact, that you're actually bringing these things to you by not letting that go. And it goes back to what I said last week, the week before, about feeling peace. Like really going out and feeling peace. Did you really practice feeling peace in your mind and love in your heart? Did you use that in situations that came up over the last couple of weeks? Did you honestly go out and really toss your ego away? Because ego is a huge imbalancer. It stops us from really enjoying what's going on about us, because we have to feel like we're the first, we're the quickest, we're the most knowing, we're the blah, blah, blah. All that ego stuff, gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. It's a huge imbalancer.
But you know what else? I'm just thinking, so I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. And, you know, Mother's Day is a day, especially if you're a mom. I had a fabulous one. But there was things that came up, even starting first thing in the morning, that I could have let resistance happen and kind of dampen my day as it was starting out. I was doing a Mother's Day walk, walking the girls at the farm park, and a friend of ours who has breast cancer was in her honor, and a couple other recipients. And I had a very specific plan that morning. I wanted my kids to go. I was getting up early. I had my walking club. We were going to walk there. This whole thing. Well, my kids didn't get up. And I had a plan. I'm going to go walk with my walking club, regardless of whether or not they come. Now, I could have gotten angry.
Right.
I could have, like, lost it. Right. I
Stagnate.
could have just, like, done, even my husband was, like, kind of, he was, like, didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, listen, this is my day. So that was not being selfish. That was me being me. Like, I'm going with my walking club.
That's right.
We're going to walk over to where we're going to start, where I met all of my other friends, and it was the most amazing, like, I let go, first of all, the expectation and, like, what I wanted my kids to do, but it wasn't about them. It was about me.
Right.
It was me being true to who I am. And I've really, really been stepping into that authentic piece, which then helps with balance.
Because you've shed the notion that selfish is bad.
Right.
Selfish
I don't like the word.
is just putting yourself first,
Yeah.
which is really important.
We need a different word than
And you
selfish.
got to stop thinking about what people think you should be doing.
Yeah.
It's a huge, first of all, it's a huge stressor.
Yeah.
And stress is what really causes so much imbalance in our lives,
Yeah.
which leads to anger, frustration, and all these things. And ultimately, it leads to, like, you're medicating yourself for insomnia, frustration, anger, depression, and then you're just numbing yourself. Well, how are you supposed to find balance in things if you're numbing yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, medication hugely throws off the normal flow and consistency of balance and homeostasis in the body. And when you learn to bring your outer world into balance, and yeah, you know, I had a client call me this morning, client/friend, which most of them are, and she was saying, like, I think I'm going to need to be a little selfish today. And I went, that's great. Why are you making it like such a bad thing? And I'll tell you what, the minute I said hello to her and she said hello to me back when I answered the phone, I went like this. I let her say something else and I went, what's wrong with you? She went, well, I'm calling for 2 reasons. I said, all right, well, you sound really out of balance. You sound like you're going to cry. I could feel in her voice, in the vibration, the imbalance of who I know her to be as her happy, aligned with it, self-fulfilling self.
I love that. Self-full. Let's change the word.
Yeah.
From selfish to self-full.
There you go.
Because
there
it
you
is
go.
very
Make a note
different.
of that.
Selfish, you know, is like, I don't know, lack of better words, being a little bitchy, and like I think there's a very negative tone on the word selfish.
Well, people
but
go, they're
self-full,
so full of themselves. You make it such a bad thing. But some people, if their ego is so connected, yes, they're full of themselves in a way that they can't really see who they are, or they're trying to block who they are from their own self.
I think it has to do with intention also. So if you look at it, like for her, she felt like guilty. So that's one of those negative things that are going to hold you back. But instead, she should have just like been celebrating that I'm going to honor myself today and be my genuine, authentic self.
Yes.
And this is what I need. Honoring your needs
Yes.
is way different than being like, listen, I don't know what you're going to eat this week because I'm not doing grocery shopping. I mean, that's a little different to me.
Well, and also, how much of other people's stuff can you stuff and keep stuffing? And there goes your scales again. Here you are, you're just kind of getting there. Now somebody does something,
Yeah.
and then you like stuff it, and you keep stuffing it. This is never going to get to this
No.
until you let that stuff go.
Yeah.
I mean-
I've been practicing really writing that down and burning it because some things probably shouldn't come out of my mouth that I'm thinking, but if I need to release that energy rather than, you know, store that up. And the other thing, I said this to somebody yesterday, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Oh, Wayne Dyer, who
Right?
I just was going to say, I was reading some of his stuff, and he was saying on an equal, like, he was saying some things that which made me see a picture of an equal scale of your desires and your actions. And he quoted Oscar Wilde, who says, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." So if we're all in the gutter and some of us are looking at the stars, why should we not look at the stars because everybody else is staying where they are? That's a huge imbalance.
I don't get the analogy actually of being in the gutter looking at the stars, but this is me.
Well, think about it. We're all in this school of life, and we're all in our stress or whatever of whatever we allow. And some of us are really putting out there our dreams and our desires and following them,
Yeah.
but some of us aren't. So we're all in this place that we feel so trapped in, which we're really not trapped in,
Right.
unless we're just thinking we're trapped in it. And some of us are really going, no, here's where we're going to get. Because, I mean, this is something else we've talked about. If somebody else is doing something that you really dream about doing, then clearly it's doable. Because anybody can do it if that person
There was a quote.
did it.
There was a quote. I was just reading The Alchemist, and there's a quote in there that says about being in the desert, how the desert can be so freeing one minute and so trapping another minute.
Right, because you could be in the desert where there's no water.
And this
be
was
really
like
thirsty.
soldiers came in. They were like going across the desert, and they were feeling so free. And then soldiers came in and like trapped them, and like from one extreme to the other.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of an analogy in life, because sometimes you feel like that you're just cruising along and something happens, and then all of a sudden you feel like
Every day you're cruising along
Right.
and something happens.
right, and then
But-
it's your perception and how you're going to respond rather than react.
Exactly. And I think a lot of you by now are really able to be aware of exactly at that moment what you're thinking, what your response is going to be, and that peace affirmation, my mind is at peace, I am at peace, I am a peaceful being. All of these things really bring your energy field into a very balanced place. And you know what? If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of using this energy out here and harnessing it and making it what you want to be. Hi, Barb. Welcome. So you really have to own that this energy is really available to us. And once you do and start to use it, it's amazing how things just start coming to you, how doors open, how the right people come into your life. And it's really letting go of ego, your pursuit to be in control of every situation. It's also about forgiveness and letting go of that rope around your neck. And
expecting other people to do what you want them to do, and also that they could be somehow responsible for your happiness or your any other mood that you can come up with in the course of a day.
Absolutely.
Right?
And whether you want to admit it or not, look at all the things, like look back in your life, like even the last just 5 years, look at all the things that have happened, all those things that like happened in your life that you weren't expecting, that you didn't know. Look how a lot of where you stepped back, really observed the situation, took time to assess it, and then you said, I know that God's going to get me through this.
Yeah.
Look at all the things that you have come through, survived, and how much wiser you are now for that. And you're wiser because you're more, you've really raised your ability to face these things and looked at them more positively, and really known that this energy out there is available to us, and how we're looking at the situation, how we've come through it. And you can't say that you're not wiser from it.
Yeah.
And I say wiser in the fact that you know that this ability to balance our lives and go forward is so much more available to us. And I think that the more we hold ourselves responsible for everything, and the more we hold ourselves more accountable for everything that happens, it really brings you into, like, my body's like vibrating from, like, while I'm saying this.
Yeah.
I feel very aligned with
Yeah.
what I'm saying, that what you're projecting, what your life is to you, you really understand that it's coming from this source. And I think that when you're aligned with source, that's when this balance starts to happen. And the more balance, the more balance, the more balance.
And it's all decision too. You know, I'm just thinking like how the change of the weather is. When you said survived, you survived all that. Some people stay in that survival mode rather than making a decision to get out of that and to now start going forward. And I really feel like that's a lot of the change that we're experiencing in this year, is everybody like, okay, I'm done with that. You know, and it's kind of like how the weather just changed. Like, it was cold, it was crappy. Today, sunny, beautiful, sunny.
Right.
Summer.
So if we look at these things that come up in our life every day that throw us out of balance because we're not aligned. And a lot of times we're not aligned and we don't feel balanced because there's deception around, and we can feel these things. The minute we just disown and disconnect from that, find our peace, and stop allowing those outer things, you really just come to a place where you do let these things roll off. And the more balanced we become, the more our desires become more aligned. And be really conscious of your desire to be in peace. It's so huge. I know it sounds like, oh, I'm just thinking this, but the more you think about your desire to be in peace, what are your thoughts going to do? Your thoughts are going to harness all of this energy and information and bring it to what you want.
Yeah, and it's a choice to, for all the people that you spend your time with, like, if you're finding yourself still staying in all those places, shift your people. I mean, shift your environment.
My car's not going to make it. I'm going to be late. I never have enough time. All of these discerning thoughts need to be changed, need to be let go, and you really have to look forward to everything. Like, what did I learn? Let me disconnect. Let me find the peace. And I think it was something I was reading actually from Wayne Dyer, where there's a meditation I was doing where you visualize yourself as the center of the circle on a spoked wheel, and you watch this energy and this light coming from your solar plexus, and just see yourself being fed from source, and see yourself putting out all the change in all of these thoughts that no longer serve you. Like, let go of all these things, and you really see this beautiful golden light just emanating, and you emanate peace, and you send this peace to all of your situations. All right, so I have to remember where I read it, and then I'll be able to put it up for you. But really, Wayne Dyer is an excellent source for really realigning. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, saying that. Letting go of these things, and I'm going to try to find where it was, and really, even the situations, if you're at work and there's somebody that's always irritating you, or somebody who's always saying something that's, instead of letting it be an irritating thing, turn around and say, you know what, let me think about this, and give yourself an opportunity to not jump to a frustrating conclusion or a frustrating response, and really hold yourself accountable to being in the peace, which is going to in turn give you and bring you into that balance. So again, we hope all this made sense to you, and whoever's out there, we really can't see for some reason because the update doesn't let us see it, kind of. I know Barb's there. Thank you. Hi, Barb, and whoever else is out there, we love you, and we're grateful for your support. And
next week we're going to be on Thursday.
Next week we are Thursday at noon, not Wednesday at noon. So Thursday, I believe it's the 25th, and we'll put it up again. And again, we love you. Thank you so much. This is our balance grid. We have celestite, citrine, black onyx, tanzanite,
it's very pretty,
tangerine quartz, and of course our Lemurians, to help us to bring back and remember all that we really, really know. And it's balance, being connected and plugged into the source. We love you guys.
Have a great week.